I think, of the same trumpet.
Yeah, I mean, it's not like same, but it feels like, you know, one of those OG maps everybody knows how to play.
Everybody knows it.
Like, if you play ranked, a really big opportunity either playing Oregon, Clubhouse, or Border. Like, those are the three main maps, I feel like, at this moment. So, from whenever you've joined and you became a ranked player into your competitive career, those three maps have almost always been there.
How's your morning? Good morning?
Yeah, pretty good. Just cleaned the house before we got onto the broadcast here, so very productive so far.
Goodbye, Iana.
I wonder if that's for the grenades. I believe it would be.
The only time I see Iana banned is when it's a target ban against Shaiko and it doesn't work.
Yeah, because then he goes onto Nomad and, well, it's same gun. More effect,
Same.
apparently.
Apparently it's down to the way you have the screen resolution. I saw some... So if you're playing on 4.3...
Yes.
Then the sights...
Oh yeah, no,
better.
still have like magnification, feels like, if you're on slightly stretched with one.
So a heavier hitting gun on 4.3 is just like having an off-brand 1.5. Anyway, that's a side note. We'll pop in here. Talon, they're starting themselves onto the defense. As I said, if they get control of this first map, I can't see it extending beyond 2. It's not that Talon have a great bank, but LAVEGA, I mean, as far as I can see, and I could be wrong on this, feel free to correct me with the numbers. They've got one play of bank against BNA back in August in the Summer Cup. And they won it with a sort of defense-heavy thing, but Talon, I think, are going to be a bigger stress on their attack versus what they had against BNA.
I was going to say, BNA, like, whilst they are, of course, one of the top 8 teams within South Korea, they're not like that top 3, top 4 that we are looking for to really put that benchmark down. And all results against them surely count. It's just not fully representative of what we like to see in these kind of games. So, with that said, let's get underway with the actual action phase. A bit of a split spawn that we see coming through. Just to make sure that they have some quick information on every side of the map so they can really make up their plan on where they're going from.
I'm curious to see if we get a bit of pace coming out here from LAVEGA. Sort of put it down quite early, get the, you know, Talons in, and there it is. The first strike goes against the back end of White Window.
Going down.
That. I think a little bit of audio loop. I don't know if you are.
Not sure. I'm trying to pay attention to it. I think I hear like the nuck thing, but I don't think I have audio loop.
I'm hearing everything twice. You take over.
Well, as first kill instantly came through, Talon now slightly outnumbered, but due to the fact they are on that basement, it's still going to be very doable, but need to make sure that they have everything covered. And as the big tower's receiving suppression now from both T3, but also from the door, hatches are being opened up. You'll see the last remaining roamers basically out on the back stairs. Fall back, start playing Turtle. And that means there's plenty of time for LAVEGA here to actually work these hatches and start setting themselves up. This is very beneficial for them in that first round. Usually we see like the LCQ starting to form in like the last minute or so. It's Misa. He hacked Yokai. So I'm going to try and keep that alive until the very last moments, because it's going to be aware where it's coming from, and that means it'll be almost useless in an anti-plant situation.
Good steals.
Just know where it's coming from. Yeah.
Good steals. Good bit of pressure from the Twitch drone there. Sort of going unanswered, but regardless of having the eyes on the Shaiko position, you still have to have the player there as well. Misa's got the watch on the back end, but it's full pressure, full send so far onto E-Box and onto the back of the stair set itself. Ryder will be the bite that they want to try and get the drop on the hatch, swing around, take care of the character at the same time, but they actually don't feel fully confident. And Echo flirted with the idea of pushing up the stairs, but the pressure of time is on LAVEGA here. As I said, I wondered if they would go a little bit sort of short and sharp, but this is that game that can be played at the back end of this round. They're popping off the smoke canisters, there's popping off the player. Guard falls on the back. Just trying to strong arm and force their way in right now, but all caught off in the crossfire. Misa's able to fire one right back against the opposite end. Pillar is locked out by Damali. Now in a 2 versus 2 with 20 seconds, another smoke canister can pop. They cannot get any further. Roy Boy needs to get himself to a situation where he can try and offer a little bit of a wing and a prayer towards the player. They still have to try and creep their way around. It's all well and good doing the calls at this point. Fight the fire and through it and finds the swing. One more in a 2 versus 1. Gonna hold the angle for the plant and it's a melee. 4K for the round.
Very well done there in the end. Good use as well from the logic bomb in the end, making sure that the dead people unable to watch those cameras, which means not going to be able to alert the mirror out there that there was someone coming through that hallway. So use utility in the end there, all on the back of that one opening kill. And yes, like time was ticking low in the end, but they had so much time to prepare themselves beforehand, which meant that they didn't need a full minute to go for an execute later. So first round from them, they need to try and keep that up, and Talon to be a bit more careful in those first engagements.
Okay, LAVEGA, off the back of a single player, you get the first round. It wasn't even a 4K, it was all 5. I thought one of them was pulled by a different player, but to open on an ace is a bit of an ace in itself. You have that momentum, you have that energy of like, yeah, I'm ready for this game, but you also can use that to shake the rest of the team and go, get ready for this game.
5 seconds to go.
Top floor. It's going to be
Attackers are moving out to locate
just last round. I think they might have been a bit too quick on their utility in the end there. Still fire about. You saw a bit of panic in the smoke, throwing those canisters out as quickly as possible. Maybe if they were able to just space it out for 2-3 more seconds, you would have had a better fighting chance. But it's done, it's done. And as I go to the top floor now, it's a completely different site to some extent of where you need to play at. It's a bit more horizontal approach. Verticality, not so much. Not going to be seeing too much grenade play from below. Only Sledge, of course, carrying 2, but not sure if he's going to be sending them in from below, just looking for anybody to be found. Heavy roam, though, on the side of Talon. 2 of them being out there. 1 security, 1 in the actual basement. Could be prone to potential flanks.
You are always concerned of the flank in South Korea.
Okay, South Korea definitely seems to be very vulnerable to those.
Bit of a pause. Bit of a break in the action. It's early morning for us. I'm not entirely sure what time it is for them. I keep saying like early morning, low start. But that's just for me. Just for me and you.
You can't hide.
This is 11 a.m. here. It's almost afternoon.
That is ludicrous. You live 6 p.m.
Wake
there.
up at
Thanks,
7
Anne.
a.m. anyway, so.
Anne is like a bank. She has books on the walls of the time in several different places. Well, they know that the pressures. Anne is the clock. Sorry, my mistake. They want to try and get themselves cracked over the top. They've obviously been able to destroy anything on the other side. Oh, it's because the camera. This is a bug. There's like a bug problem now, I think. I don't know if it could just be me being crazy, but you cannot deploy like a R-breach charge when there's an awkward bit of utility close by. And it's usually, you'll see it with like fuse charges, but I think it was the SAM cam there. It was just a little bit too far over for them to be able to deploy the gadgetry. 4 versus 5 though. This Ryder from underneath gets the take and trying to put themselves towards JLT on the back end of Attic.
He does have a Frostmat to provide himself with some cover, but he needs to be careful because big open breach out there is going to be making him quite vulnerable from the walk-in there, especially with these flashbangs coming through. The Mali about to be walking through. He's going to be finding one yet again, but the Frostmat, is he fully aware of that? No, he's not. And he's going to be caught off by the 2v3 effectively now.
Well, what a way for your star player to go down there. He was ready for the next engagement, but next engagement was ready for him. There's 2 kills picked back up. It's all down to guards. And 1 versus 3. The hit is in the middle of the room. So is his corpse. Talon! They're able to take dorms back. Now, with that locked, will they go back down to laundry or try and keep themselves rotating?
See, that's the thing about Oregon. I feel like there's 2 very viable sites, and that is going to be that basement, and that's going to be the bedrooms upstairs. The other 2, they are doable. Just a little bit less likely to be won, unlike some other sites, for example. You feel maps, sorry, where you feel like you might be having 3 viable sites, such as a cafe where you can easily go to reading room or kitchen or even the top floor. You know, those are mainly the 3 sites. So indeed, they will be going back down towards the basement. No need to go for one of the first floor sites unless you're absolutely forced to do so. It might be the right call, but they need to make sure that they basically bring what they just did to this round as well, because it went quite well for Talon in the end stages of that round. They were able to find that first pick. They were able to lock him in on the pillar side of things, and they just ran out of utility and guns though to really deal with the issue.
Hate when that happens.
Hate when that happens.
When I've got an issue and I've run out of utility and guns,
yeah,
I'm just like, what do I do?
How do you solve the problem then?
How do you solve a problem like?
If you have no more toxic gas that breaks the Geneva Convention, or if you, you know, have no guns left, yeah.
You sledgehammers out of sledgehammer charges.
Yeah, exactly.
It happens to all of us. My friend works in DIY. I asked him, I said, is this true to life? I like how that was...
Just 25 charges in every sledgehammer.
25 charges in every sledgehammer. It says it. It says if you buy a sledgehammer, if any of you in chat ever go and buy a sledgehammer, make sure you double check the charge count.
Yeah, not that you buy 1 out of 25, because that's a scam.
It's a scam. You're being scammed. Oh, there's a scam. Ryder takes the head of the approaching Nook, who was not as sneaky as they thought, but neither was Ryder. Damali on the back end, continually killing throughout this game. And such a boon for LAVEGA, but again, he has 7 of their 8 kills.
See, the thing with Talon here is they want to obviously roam, but there's only 2 ways out really from where Ryder was at that moment. That's kind of when you need to do some more prep. If you keep on being caught off by these kind of windows, open up some hatches. Fall down those hatches. They cannot hold every way out if you make many of them. So now again, chems will be hacked, and that means that, well, if there's any bulletproofs on the site, they'll be able to use that against the defensive team to try and locate where these players are playing. We still have those Logibomb, that single Logibomb in Damali as well, so as soon as the push does come through, it's going to be using that to stop any of the dead people from playing those cameras.
No echo drones though, this time around. They don't get the joy of actually utilizing that against them, but with the force and the swing that needs to come down to these pressure points, that is the next step. And again, you know, I still will say that it was off the back of Damali. They were so pressed for time. And he played it brilliantly. As he said, he put the call-outs, they couldn't watch the motions, they couldn't call the swing onto the player, they caught him entirely unaware from that bulletproof without having to destroy the bulletproof. Here, though, this time round, you have to make sure that there's just a little bit more snap earlier on. You can see Misa is again in this power position. They're able to cover off the blind. They're more than ready for the swing that might come onto the back of it. There's 2 players above E-Box waiting for the pressure. Seora's just buying some space here onto the swing, onto barrels as well, so they can't entirely surround the player. Here comes the motion. There's Misa getting himself slightly more tucked and safe, and somehow there's a trade in it. Damali kills Shu. JLT gets the back of Damali, and that was almost tragic because they got the down onto Misa. Guard gets 1 back in the split of things, but a 3 versus 2 with 10 seconds left. They're pushing through fire to find the fight onto Freezer, which they get, but now it's just Crown. Great take, 1 versus 1. He finds the player, and that is twice. They've stolen around down on this site, but this time it was almost against themselves.
I don't know what to say. Like, okay, that must have been a missed call on the back stairs there. They realized there was one in Shaiko. That gunfight goes on. Might have been a fake call, or might have been someone just too quick on the trigger out there, but it was a 4v2 Talon. The man was walking through fire, and you still lose out on these gunfights. All you had to do was hit him once, really, and you would have won that. Oh, that's a rough round there. They should have really had that, and I mean, props to Crown, right, for getting the clutch out there and securing that round when time was ticking down. But Talon, you really should have had that in pocket.
I mean, oof. Play oof sound effect.
Sadly, don't have it.
Oof.
10 seconds to go.
think they need to make that new sound effect. So.
5 seconds.
It's rough, and you know what? There's sort of an unfortunate mirror held up against that across both times they've lost it, because the other time as well, there was a push down long and then a swing left and right, and it's players expecting utility to stop LAVEGA, expecting time to stop LAVEGA, but they are really living in that dream of there's nothing to lose here, so let's try and get the win. And twice they've been able to get the win at the back of it because Talon sort of sat there on this corner hoping, nah, they're not going to get to me. I'm all right here. If they help, you know, there's fire there. What are they going to do? Run through the fire? And then they do. And they seem to be a bit taken aback that you can play the game that aggressively.
I mean, Robo as well was watching the wrong way in the end on that mirror, and you just wonder, like, did he not hear the sprinting on the other side? Like, was the calls so chaotic for the comms that he couldn't hear it, or was he just too hyper focused on? Well, he is coming through the side. He will be. Either way. Second round for LAVEGA, and then again, beautifully played out by Crown. And that basically makes him, together with Damali, basically solely responsible for picking up the 2 rounds they have.
Oh, 100%.
It's not viable, but it might work for this first map, and, you know...
But the first map isn't the worry. When I said if they get this first map, they could take this in 3, I didn't mean if they get it like this, what the heck? Check his computer.
It's
I'm joking. That's a joke. That's a meme. I'm not really accusing him. That was great, though. This might be... Ooh, a follow-up covered
from below.
Yep.
He's there from that shotgun. Lots of damage being done. Damali secured as well, and this whole top floor take was being attempted by LAVEGA's kind of headed the wrong way. Part of there's a feet up in the air. It's an interesting way to lie down. Doubt it's any relaxing.
Gets the blood to the brains.
Yeah, definitely
think of
does.
a better
Quick
plan.
reaction.
I guess think of a better plan than let's just try and keep charging at the slaughter. Because, I mean, there it was. You know, Talon were holding their positions. They were locked in. They had a good read on how they wanted to approach this. And LAVEGA just sort of kept moving on. The first take was really filthy. But then since then, you know, they just kept driving in, and they were a bit blindsided as to where the players were. There's one more for Misa, who's just crowned the man of the moment the previous round. Well, he's inside sight, but so are they now.
Yeah, they knew where he was. It's a flawless round to come in from Talon, and I mean, as soon as that Banshee went off, they knew exactly where he was going to be coming from, and he, you know, backing out of that moment basically doesn't yield you anything either, so he just had to go for it. Just there was too many around, too many places. So 2-2, and the top floor will be unlocked again for Talon, so I assume they'll be going there after their 2 blunders
Well,
on the
I can't read
on
Korean,
basement.
but I don't see a number there. So I think they might be back at the basement.
I mean, I can't read Korean either, so
Attackers need to
they might be right.
and defuse bombs.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's how
So
you
they
tell.
are going back
For
here.
people at home that think that casters who work international regions can read it, no, we can't. Some of us can.
Pick up on little tricks.
Most of us can't. You pick up on little tricks, and one of them is if there's a number, apparently that's the same, regardless of the language you got the game in.
Bomb located by attackers.
Maybe not every language, but at least Korean.
Is there different numerical
Yes.
indicators?
Well, I don't know.
Oh.
10 seconds remaining.
I've not.
I could
you know,
barely do it within just the concept of English and learning
5
in math
seconds
class. So, were you ever good at math?
I was actually, yes.
Attackers are
could
moving
see
to
that.
defuse a bomb.
I could see that.
Arabic apparently has different numbers. For
Arabic.
example.
Arabic.
So well, they still Arabic. Yeah, sorry. Well, I still use 0 to 10, of course, but they write it in their
That's cool.
own language.
Things are cool. Okay. Enough about things. Let's see if third time's the charm, Talon.
It should be. Because, I mean, again, they should have won the last time they were here, and his rider again opens up, but this time he has a safe way back to the site. Well done. That's going to be a great change. And the floor is removed, whilst Guard maybe doesn't have, you know, any kills on his name. The RC Rotero could still do a lot of damage. Especially if you start looking at the utility, such as those hot pockets that go canisters carry. Even the ADSs, bulletproof cameras. Think of all those things could have been destroyed and basically taken out of play. It's all gone now. Oh, is this a trick? It is a trick.
Yep.
Is it in time? Yes.
And Crown would
explode.
just have heard those X-Karos get stolen as you flip to his cam as well.
14 left, so still plenty of time to go for it, but the real issue is here, there's nothing there in terms of EMPs. Which means that the only way to really get those hatches open is to get yourself underneath the hatch, then take out the electric claw, and then you can put it on. So that's one removed, means that the freezer and the laundry hatch will be able to be opened up. But as long as the cave is right underneath this hatch and meeting, well, that's just gonna stay closed.
Oh,
That doesn't help.
it's a bit rotten
6 left.
timing. 6 left, that's enough to make a breach or a rotation, but chances are, based on the time left and how we've seen LAVEGA take the site the last 2 times, it's not really going to be an insight rotation. It's more just going to be a let's try and strong arm our way down the mirror window. However, that is something that you might want to try and break. I don't think either of those two connected. And they both bounced off. Oh no. Maybe. Yeah, they did pop. One of them at least popped off.
And the mirror's still on.
No, it isn't.
That's definitely not looking through anymore. Like, fire's going off, another impact just to keep that wall shut. They don't want to be getting a giant opening that can be used against them. Misa spots one on the laundry stairs. Now, there's only really one option they can go for here, and it's to rush down freezer, rush down laundry, maybe one through the back stairs, because this hatch stays opened up, and that really puts them down through some tight chokeholds here.
All 9 players and almost that many seconds left in the game. LAVEGA, this is your hardest challenge yet. And once again, players falling on the back. They break in via blue, go for the burst here across. Sayora is able to get one more body for the tally. The quick swap, the cover on the planter. There's too much fire and there's just no time. Talon, they find the game and it's let's just lock these hatches. And apparently that is enough to stop LAVEGA's approach.
I mean, there was no EMPs out there, right? So there's no way of actually countering what was going on there. So, well, you know, good adaptation coming down from Talon. And they won't have to worry about that anymore, as, you know, only 1 round left now. We'll be up on that top floor. So, you can still bring the Kate to lock off one of those walls.
Defenders, protect your bombs from being defused by attackers.
It's just that last time they were playing that from below on the attack to get rid of stuff. And that's not possible when you're in the basement. Don't really play that from below the basement.
Back to dorms. This time we saw the 2. Everybody. It's like a kids TV show. Blue's Clues. Like, did you see the 2? Yeah.
See, I've seen Blue's Clues, right? It hasn't like I haven't seen too many episodes of it. So I've seen like maybe if I start thinking about it, just like 4 or 5, but I've never seen like more.
How would you know?
What do you mean?
Well, you watched it when you were a kid, right? You don't watch shows like that when you're an adult. I couldn't.
You know, I had an Excel sheet back in the day. Just
I couldn't. To be fair, that makes sense. I couldn't tell you how many of like my favorite shows, how many episodes I've watched.
I mean, if I've seen a lot, I will know it's a lot. If I've seen little, I know it's little, right? So it's like it cannot be more than 5.
How many
It's
episodes of Fairly Odd Parents have you seen?
I've seen a lot of those.
Right, Rugrats.
Don't know what that is.
What?
Might not have that in the Netherlands.
I have no idea.
Or it might be called like a different name. What's it about?
Reptile? It's about kids.
I don't think I.
Animated show about kids. Well, life's tough, and it might be a bit tough here for the player going for the creep across the top. They'll give the game away. Wapley hasn't had a great game so far. And I'm pretty sure that's the pronunciation I remember from casting this player back at the major.
That was Wally.
Well, I think we were doing Wally, and then we were corrected.
Oh.
Wapley. I'll message
What's,
James.
Sledge?
I'll
Is that
message
Shug?
Dev Martyr. He knows.
So. Pally. I like that. Trying to get into that first gunfight as Damali again struggling with opening up. Finally actually to lose his life right or instantly to be traded out. Went a bit too aggressive in the armory corridor out there. Gets traded out for it. Meantime, Crown found by a C4 as well. So still the numbers advantage in favor of Talon here. Also removing the heart breach. So that wall will stay shut. Meaning that, first of all, they need to go and recover that diffuser. But also, they only really have access to the attic right now.
James just replied. He says, 1 sec. I don't think that's how it's pronounced, James.
No, James. Come on.
A minute on. God's going to see if they can try and dance across the bedroom. And obviously, with the exploded floor and with Amanda's advantage, and you missing out on what? The hard breach and an entry who, to be honest, really hasn't been the entry for the team on this half. Become a bit more awkward. The second grenade explodes to no avail. Mally has been a force, but he hasn't been able to get a kill since about the 3rd round. Ever since he killed his teammate, he's been a little bit traumatized, and well, there's a bit more trauma to add onto it. Apparently it's pronounced "we flee."
What? We flee? Okay. I don't know what Dev had for breakfast, but I would not have made up for that.
I trust him not to lie to me. But also, he sent a screenshot to back it up, and what we have backed up is Misa backed up into the side of sight.
We flee.
This comes from Rain, the Korean caster, the South Korean caster. We flee. Just say
so
it fast.
If he flees
we flee.
he flees the scene to get his team, he says
so
we
that
flee.
Isn't just from James Steph Marcher Stewart.
Okay.
This is me just moving blame in case I'm wrong.
What about the warden? I would say Shug. Or is that Sh99?
I just say Shu.
Just
Need to locate
Shu?
and defuse
Shu.
bombs.
Alright. See, I presumed it was Shug, but now Pally is we flee. I'm starting to doubt myself.
I mean, that's the sort of thing where Des would go, they should just write a different name. But at the same time, to be fair, we are...
It's how they pronounce it, right? It's yeah.
There's language differences.
Yeah, so some of those in Europe.
There are some strange names. There's also, if you ever cast... There's a lot of players that have additions to their names that you don't include. For example, Nesk has obviously the reference to the old teammate, I believe it is. Might be an old team, one of the two.
Yeah.
But it's still just Nesk. However, it's
Bibu as well.
Sign of respect, Bibu. The occasional Super Astro you get as well. There's a lot. Big Bad Nadian.
Oh, I'll call him Big Bad Nadian. So.
Well, that's when he needs to pull out the Big Bad Nadian.
Instantly the blitz though from the side of Talon. Wondering how that's going to be used, especially up against a Clash. It feels like that kind of takes the pace out of that blitz. So they need to quickly realize what's on the board here and find a solution against it. I believe that Clash is really going to be an issue if you don't. Just slowing you down, providing information. Just a recipe for disaster.
You can see them getting their approach over the top. They're forcing and shepherding these players back. What we've had from LAVEGA here is a little bit more of an adventurous hold. They sort of tried to stress the time and the pressure and hoping again, the less time left in the pockets, the more powerful that Clash can be. But the one thing you don't have with the Clash is the versatility of movement. If they have a route that's cut off, then they're not going to be able to get very far. You need to make sure that in that final 30, 40 seconds, you know where you want them to be. There's not many other places that they can really go. Misa, shoulder checking, and the clarity around the back end. They'll hear the blitz. They'll call for the Clash. So you can see them making that roll. As I said, you need to have them in a comfy position because sometimes drops on this, you're looking at 3 different sides, 3 different fights. Very easy to accidentally reveal an arm.
This must be like a multiple approach. 3, 2, 1 countdown. There's no other way you're going to be able to get that Clash, but with all the other bodies still being around as well, I don't see this round going Talon's way currently. They've done almost no preparation so far. Opened up. Maybe the hatches. Not quite sure even if they did that yet. So some of those haven't opened up. Now the fire's starting to go, but that's going to be wasting so much time as well. And Weefly just holding those back stairs is going to be making sure that this blitz is not going to be receiving any support from any of his teammates anytime soon.
Oh, great take. But there's the clash, and there's the drop round as the fight of Pillar. They're doing their best to hold off the approach, but with 30 seconds and the pressure already hitting onto the site, you can see LAVEGA are being forced further and further back. A huge shot from Shu and the Fire to buy themselves a little bit more time. A very important fight there as well, because it felt like Talon were just going to try and strong-arm their way all the way back in, and you can see them having to almost make a fighting retreat here. Clash is getting tucked into one of the defaults, causing some problems. JLT's going for the plant. The Clash is going for the zap, with Misa unable to hold the cover, and there's the end kill as a Clash. There is a hold out there and a lock-in, but I mean, credit to those 3 remaining LAVEGA players for being able to just sort of hold the line.
Yeah, for sure, because that seemed to have been slipping away from them there just slightly. So it was a pretty explosive start from Talon in that, well, execute phase. He's not able to back it up in the end that there. And again, you know, that Clash just walking around, what can you really do about it? Especially if you have another shield on your side. Like, it's a pistol, you can still fire with it, but like if you're holding down a freezer on a long angle like that, pretty sure you would have liked to have any other gun than just a pistol and a shield on his side. I made sure that the pressure couldn't really been there, but either way, as soon as he shot, they also would have known the Ashes alone without cover and shield get that kill. So Ash being problematic. Next time they go downstairs, they'll have to find an adaptation to it. Or they're going to have to say, you know what? We'll forget about that downstairs site. They can have that to some extent. We'll just focus on the remaining 2 sites, making sure that we have a good top floor take in our hold, in our hand.
5 seconds to go.
Okay, Talon, it was the first site, it was the first swing, but now we're going to disco dance up dorms. See if there can be a slightly different approach. There is, in the fact that you've opted from one field to the other. Slow-moving mountain might be that stop. I'm still concerned, Mr. Happington. Happily Bridge. That between guard and we flee, we have 1 kill to almost, you know, 15 deaths.
I mean, I was going to say before, like, really, whenever a round is won by LAVEGA, you can really put it down to a single person getting most of those kills. In the first round, they won it was Damali. Second round, they won it was Crown. Now it's Shu. So they just need 1 player to step huge in one of those rounds if they want to have success. That's
underneath.
Down from a grenade below. Yeah, a second one's going to be following, I believe.
If it had, it would have netted 2 kills.
It was in pocket. It was in hand. Tossed out now. I don't know where it actually went, but that would have been a double kill indeed. So that could have been a huge start. Still Crown very low though, and only a single smoke canister left. That's very quick on your utility usage there.
I mean, they're obviously, you know, they're long-arming dorms. You can do this as a type of hold where you sort of have half a walk in soft. You make it awkward to be out on the balcony. Misa, I think, has just drawn all those smokes. There's the 3rd throw, and I think they sort of got themselves set up and tried to just hold that breached wall so the players could move in freely behind it and then just use the smokes to force them off. JLT a little bit lucky. One of those unlucky moments of swinging with utility, and they just happen to be on the back of it. Roy Boy gets the cut, and there's the other side of it, but there's the swing, the drop down, and Shu gets the rotate round and takes care. Player a minute on. 4 versus 4, a very quick body picked back up. Weeflee's holding on. The swing of Attic as Damali wants to again try and keep this crossfire, but Misa is the problem child right now. Look at the players underneath, though. 2 of them around class on the bottom of the stairs. There's a C4 that almost gets the end of Misa. They might get their ankles shot out by the player rotating armory stairs if they're unaware of it, though.
He's going to try and get himself in as Ryder will find 1 kill. They spot a player. Oh no, why did you unshield there? You might have just had to push and provide your teammate with cover. Now, it is going to be a 2-on-1 situation. Shu, the last man standing, needing to go for this clutch here. Plant going down soon. 45 seconds will be on the board, and these nomads are going to try and keep Shu at bay, but he's rotating through the attic. As GLT will shut him down in the end. Talon found themselves with a round, but again, this got very close here. Those rotations beneath definitely proved to be troublesome for them.
It was... I mean, it was a good drive to try and push all the way in. You could sort of see them running the numbers there on the different facets of the defense. You could see, as I said, the fight about that walk-in breach with the Monty. The Monty was the reason that they could sort of get themselves into those positions. It was a great response towards the hold there of LAVEGA.
Defenders protect
On the
your
back
bombs
end of it, though, they seem to have a bit of a reliance, I think, on that Monty. You know, they were the break in towards the site as well. Even with the 2 players underneath, you have sort of explosion. You know, at that point, there's one that was playing the drop on attic and playing pit, and then one that is somewhere else at that point. And you have a man advantage. You win the fight on double window. There has to be a break at the same time, but it's only because the Monty's gone, we need to go in. Yeah, that's how a Monty's sort of ridden, but it is a bit of cause for concern. I'm kind of glad they're moving away from it, because they assume, I guess, LAVEGA's going to move away from the play that they did last time too. Maybe they think that they can try and take some bodies underneath first here with the Nook and play against some grenades.
Talon 2 rounds away from locking off this first map. They will have to go down towards the basement again, most more than likely. It's not now. They have the opportunity to put themselves up into a map point. Upping that pressure towards LAVEGA. Again, every single time a single player pops off, that's when LAVEGA has been able to get those rounds on the board. So, you're looking out for that. Again, it's not something that's viable. You don't really want to just have a single player popping off every single time you win a round. Kind of want it to be a team effort, but for now, LAVEGA will have to hope for that. Because, Weefly and Guard, well, they have 3 kills between themselves now. It's a bit tighter, but still not the best of performances from them.
This is the hunt that I talked about. Misa playing against his grenades, trying to find steady clear through and a bite onto those players that thought they could sort of survive underneath a bit willy-nilly. Shu is well aware, though, and here's the swing. There's the catch. Easy pick up there from Shu. He's finally tuned onto this idea.
So dropping early is a bit of a relief for LAVEGA. It's going to be that, like, booming presence gone. It's also 2 grenades out of pocket. They already used this too, so none left to play with here. The breach has been made. A clear statement has been made by Talon on where they want to be coming in from. Now, LAVEGA, all they need to do is just hold it off, hold tight. 15 left. Ball is in the court of Talon here. They need to be making these next moves.
Can they try and find this snap through with the body disadvantage, with the pressure coming across from the far end? You can see smoke canisters are sort of, you know, it's a tale of 2 tales. We know now the approach is coming from there, but so do they. They're trying to strong arm their way in. Sierra with the kit is going to have to cross the path of an exploded floor as, again, without the shield. Remember I talked about how important it was for them to get the swing round. They're just going to have to go for the pinch here onto the attic player. They've got 1 down. The swing comes around and a lot closer than they think. Suddenly Ryder has ridden all the way into the site. Shu's got to get a little bit of a shifty on here. Sprays over the top. They're going for the plant in the meantime. The other players underneath just hunting and fishing with a shotgun for nothing. And that was a great snap. They sort of red attic as a bit of a read through. They can push on the back of it. A couple of players suffered on the swing round. They were trying to get the cover here, and now they're just playing keep away with the site itself. They've said this is ours. Hits an air jab. Knocked right back round. Only Guard left with a shotgun. Gets 1, but barely any health. Gotta try and get themselves up what is a shooting gallery.
I mean, they're just gonna keep their distance now, right? Talon, like, they're just tossing some flashbangs. They'll show themselves every now and then. CR gets that final kill. Talon, they will put themselves onto a map point. You mentioned it was a great response from them. They realized the Caterers want an attic. They get the down, and instantly everything gets into motion. Instantly, they take the ground they need, jumping from the attic, instantly moving into kids together out there, getting those kills. And now a tactical timeout to be called by LAVEGA, because if 3 rounds now where they need to perform, because if they don't, it's going to map 2 with a disadvantage for them. And they want to try and get this at least back to overtime. Want to give them a fight for their first map. You don't want this to end in a 7-3.
It's kind of rough here for LAVEGA. You know, they came in off the back of a huge start on an ace, and then they had a sort of stolen round. But let's be honest, the game should be over by now. and the game could be over by now. You had 2 rounds in that first half that were taken against a lot of odds here, and those players, you know, they haven't had the biggest showing sort of since. Damali has only been able to get a couple more kills since the first 3 rounds. I think maybe even just 1 more kill. And
yeah,
to go 6 rounds without getting yourself tucked back into the gunfight is very rocky. Obviously, their entry, Weefly, who can be a huge player, hasn't really been able to get into action here against what is, on their opponents on Talon, a very balanced firing team. It is a squad at the minute. It's everybody's got a gun and they know how to use it.
Kind of what we say, right? Like throughout the entire game. Like, whereas LAVEGA relies on a single person to pop off for a round win, Talon is just firing on everybody's cylinders right now. Everybody's making the moves necessary, and that's a winning formula. You cannot win tournaments with just having a single player pop off every round. You need to show up as a team. You need to show up as a unit. Otherwise, you are not going to be making it far. Talon right now on the edge of, well, taking that first map away from LAVEGA, and that means basically putting them 1 hand out, or 1 foot, rather, out of a potential qualification.
The first strike almost goes away from them. Shu, the one player that has been able to get their teeth stuck in on this latter half and keep finding kills continually across a spread of rounds. He's almost the first gone. They've been playing that loose role throughout it, and obviously this was the site down in the basement where they did pull off a win rounds ago. But it was a slightly different setup, a slightly different hold. They had the clash, which they don't think was as effective as it could be. There goes Shu. There goes one of the most effective players and one of the most effective operators with a hold against, what, pockets of smokes, the flashes, everything on the back end. 9 flashes and some capital bolts. You can assume what they're going to be doing with them.
Just checking through, knowing now that this meeting hall is going to be completely cleared out. Quick reinforcements coming in from LAVEGA as they realize that, well, pressure is definitely coming that way. They don't want that wall to be opened up. Thus they'll close it down. It's been seen now by Misa. That also tells them a story, like, okay, they're feeling overwhelmed from this stairs side. Also, like, they've just limited angles they can actually fight the staircase from. So now it becomes an even more viable option for Talon to play behind.
At this point, you're sort of wondering when they're going to try and bring pressure on. They are well aware of the Goyos, the smoke canisters. There will be that pressure on time. It's something that they wielded very, I'm going to say, well at some points. Slightly less well at others, but they were a bit dependent on it. Here, you can see LAVEGA being shepherded further and further back on the back end. They're almost all sort of pressed against each other. There's danger domed up. The smokes, capital bolts are about to start popping towards the swing. They want to see if they can try and just make sure nobody can get onto that route there. Put the pressure on the flashes, the blinds, the players are pushed back further and further. They're going to move right on up with this. They swing into the fight. They can't get the connection all the way around. Double dip, but it's over before it started. Talon, they're able to take it pretty clean at a 7-3. I think they might be able to push it over the line if they continue this performance on Bank pretty quickly too.
For sure, if they continue the way they have just been playing, then Bank is going to be made short work of as well. LAVEGA, they really need to have a chat right now. They need to do whatever it takes for them to just mentally reset, just get back into the game, because they need to perform as a team rather than 5 individuals.
It has been a sort of solid Talon performance. As I said, I was a bit concerned